You can catch us every Wednesday between 7 p.m. and 9 p.m. GMT London. We will be discussing all the subjects that people today are interested in: personal development, health, being black in the 21st century, love and relationship, the subconscious mind, wealth creation, black history, and so much more.
DJ Gazelle.
Hello, it's Imani. We're back on another Wednesday between 7 and 9, and we have got a jam-packed show for you. Okay, so I just want to start with just picking up a few people from the last week. I've got my new jingle, which you just heard, and I just want to big up Shaki C Swag, who also does a show actually called Chris Heights and C Swag Exposure on wrsu.org. Thank you, Shaggy. And also I want to say, do you remember the first week? Anyone who was listening to my very first show, we did some sound bites from Sandra Hurst's Money Talks. Now, just to let you know, I now have those, and we'll be doing them next week. Next week we'll be doing Sandra Hurst, as I promised you all those weeks ago. So I'm really excited. I've tested them out for you, and it's really good stuff, really good information. So also we have a competition too, actually, this week. We're going to be giving away tickets to Douglas Williams' health show on the 2nd of June between 5 and 9. It's all about obesity and diabetes, and how obesity and diabetes go hand in hand. So I'm giving 4 tickets. I'm going to give 2 pairs. So if you want to go to that, then please join the competition. Also, I went to Malik Mohammed, who was on our show a couple of weeks ago. Went to his seminar, and it was my birthday week, and I decided to buy a gift for one of my lucky listeners. So I have actually got his first edition best-selling book called The Empower Yourself to Succeed. So I'm going to be giving that away as well. So we're going to be doing a competition later on in the break, and at the end we'll announce who are the winners. Okay, right, as I said to you last week, I've got a special guest for you, and she's here live and direct with us, and we're going to introduce Jeanette Lafeuillee. She's been through an amazing journey with her health. She's a young lady who's a mother, a wife, and a career woman. And she recently appeared in a national magazine. And this is a very emotional story, but it's also very empowering as well, and one that you really need to hear. So, without any further ado, we're going to start the interview with the wonderful and beautiful Jeanette Lafeuillee. So if you can just bear with me, we're going to get that started for you right now. Good evening, Jeanette.
Hiya.
And how are you today?
I'm fine, thank you.
Just want to welcome you to Nubia House and to the Imani Speak Show. Really glad to have you here. And, we really want to have you tell your story and, just really sort of show how, we can come from adversity into, success. So, Jeanette, would you like to tell our listening audience a little bit about yourself?
Oh, okay. I am a mum and a wife. And I guess I used to be a sufferer, but no longer.
Fantastic,
That's me
fantastic,
in a nutshell.
fantastic. So, right, well, Jeanette, just tell us, I mean, so you're a family woman. Tell us a bit about your family, your structure, the children.
Okay, so my family, I'm the youngest of 6 children. My parents are from the West Indies, Jamaica. I've got 2 brothers and 3 sisters.
Okay. Anything you want to say about any of your siblings?
My eldest sister is called Imani.
Oh, right. Oh. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I have to admit, this is my baby sister. There's about 12 years between us, and she means a lot to me. And I just had to get her on the show to share her story about what she's been through. So we're really going to just going to continue her story, but after this song. So hold on. Yeah. I'm very sorry, we're having some technical problems here, so if you can just bear with me. Yeah, this is a song I want you to hear. It means a lot to me and my sister.
Just begun to get our share of this world's delight. High hopes we have for the future and our goals in sight. We know we don't get depressed. Here's what we call our golden rule. Have faith in you and the things you do. You won't go wrong. Oh no, this is our family jewel.
Right, okay, so we've revealed that we're sisters, and so this is a very personal and emotional show for me, yeah, we want to share it with you. So we're going to just carry on with the questions to Jeanette. So, okay? Right. G. Okay. We just want to talk about, the National press took an interest in your story.
Okay.
Do you want to kind of go into that and really explain what happened to you 2 years ago?
All right, so hi everyone. 2 years ago, it was, let me think, probably February time. I'd just gone back to work from maternity leave, and I remember waking up literally on the bathroom floor at work. Some of my colleagues actually found me on the floor, and I guess I passed out, but I'd been feeling pretty numb from the neck down for quite a while, and I'd been to my GP and I explained that I had really severe numbness from the neck down and mainly on my left side, but my GP just said, "You've just had a baby 6 months ago, go and do Pilates and yoga." And I said to her on 3 different occasions, if I could feel like my body properly from the neck down, of course I would do Pilates and yoga, I would try anything, but I can't feel anything. And so I asked her to refer me for like a private MRI scan, and she said no scan could tell you what's wrong with you. I've done all the tests, there's nothing wrong with you. So I went into my workplace and they had a private GP, so I paid £40, and this private GP referred me straight away to a neurologist. And I went to the neurologist and he just said, "I don't want to scare you, but I need you to go for an MRI scan right now, because if it's what I suspect it is, you need to know now." So I went for the scan, and the following day I went back at about 5 o'clock in the evening, and the neurologist just sat me down and he said, "If I say to you multiple sclerosis, what does that mean to you?" So I said to him, "Oh yeah, there was a teacher at school. She had MS. She had a walking stick. She was teaching us office practice. Oh, I couldn't stand office practice." And then I paused. And I said, "Are you saying I've got multiple sclerosis?" And he nodded his head. And he said, "Yes. That's exactly what I'm saying."
Sorry, sis. How did you feel when you heard that? You know,
I
what was going through your mind?
I was totally shocked. I was devastated, and right there and then in the room I took out my mobile and I texted everybody in my phone book, and the text message just read, "Oh my God, I've got multiple sclerosis." So, just a shock, really.
So sis, once you'd had the initial shock, you received the initial shock, once you received the initial shock, what was the next thing? What happened at home?
Well, before I even left the neurologist, he'd offered me steroids. At the time, I couldn't do up my buttons or put any shoes on that couldn't just slip on my feet. So he said, if you take these 5 steroids, it will probably shorten the relapse. And he said I should come in the following week with maybe members of my family so we can discuss various treatments, but these steroids should help. And I'd always been wary hearing people talking about steroids, but I was in so much pain and I was in so much shock at hearing the word multiple sclerosis that I actually took the steroids.
Even though it was something you in the past would not consider.
I felt so desperate, and I had a new baby. Right. I've already got an 11-year-old daughter. I just felt, I have to do something. I've got to try. I can't be disabled. I can't get any worse. So I went home, and my husband, being the strong man that he was just like, "Babe, this is not for you, man. You're going to get through it." He was just like, "It's not going to happen. It's not going to happen." But I had no faith. I just thought, this is it. I've got multiple sclerosis, and they told me that it's going to get worse. So I was just scared.
So that's where you were, a very, very low point.
Yeah.
Probably the lowest that you've ever been in your life.
Totally. Mm-hmm. Lowest point of my life. Just couldn't see any light. I mean, especially that very first day, it was just raw and the shock. Total shock. Yeah.
So you and your husband Ignatius decided that you were not going to accept this situation. You were not going to just take it. You were going to deal it. You were going to get the better of it. Even though he was propping you up at that time.
I think my husband totally decided that, you know, he's normally known me to be a very strong person, strong-willed and determined.
Right, yeah.
But I really had no faith at all. Even now, when I look back, I don't even feel like it was me going through that, because I was so low. And anyone who knows me knows that I'm a very positive person. I always see light at the end of the tunnel. But
yes, I can verify that.
It totally rocked my core, you know, to not have any feeling in your body apart from severe pain. I can't even explain it, just constant stabbing pain. I can't explain it. And then to add to the pain, you're unable to move. I can't even, looking back, I cannot believe that I'm here today. Can't believe that I'm here
and
alive.
I can tell you, audience, that she is in very good health, very vibrant, looking fantastic. So Jeanette, okay, you obviously got that terrible news. We all got that news because you obviously shared it with us, your family, and you know we didn't know what to do either. So, but obviously, things started to change. What was the first thing? When did you get that little mustard seed of faith to say, you know what, I'm going to start doing something, even just taking that first step?
I remember, I think it was maybe 2 or 3 weeks down the line. No, in fact, maybe it was 2 months down the line. My right side, the feeling was coming back pretty strong. So it was just the left side that I had to sort of drag around with me, because I just didn't have feeling, and I was just tired, sleeping all the time. So the fatigue was just...
Jeanette, I just want to interject. She was actually paralysed on one side.
Yeah.
The one side was not working at all.
My left side was just...
For 3 months.
Yeah.
So, sorry, go on.
So it was, you know, it was very severe. But I remember I started to go swimming. So I couldn't actually swim because the left side was really bad, but I would just float. And I really then started just thinking, because when I have children, I actually don't go into labour. So I've never felt labour pain. So I had nothing to compare this pain with. So people always get shocked when I say, oh, I've had 2 children, but I've never experienced labour. I don't take any kind of medication or what have you. But I had nothing to compare it to. But this pain was severe. And then I started just floating in the water. And I started praying. I started saying, like, God, if you can make me go through childbirth twice and not experience any pain, like, why? What's supposed to come out of this? Like, you know, am I supposed to just stay here and suffer? Like, you know, what is supposed to happen to me? And I really just started thinking, if the right side is coming back, maybe. But I went to the neurologist and they said, look, you know, this is probably going to be another relapse. You know, you get a bit better and it's probably going to get a bit worse, so don't get too excited. And so with that, I thought, wow. And everybody I knew, they would get a bit better and then they would relapse. And I started meeting more and more people with MS, and they would just say to me, you know, like, how they're happy even though they're in that condition. And I was so sad that I only actually said to my husband recently that I actually just prayed to God and said, please just take my life. You know, I can't bear to see my children. And sometimes it was double vision, so I couldn't really see them. I couldn't really feel like I wanted to hold them. I didn't feel like I could be a wife anymore. Didn't feel like I could be a mother, you know. And my mum's always been there for me. Even when she's been sick, she's always been like, if I'm ill, she's still there. And knowing that physically I couldn't do just made me realise how inadequate I felt. And it was the worst time of my life. I've never felt so low. And it was just literally, after I'd had my son, there was this website that I saw about if you have a weak pelvic floor, that there's this thing that you could do, not like I'd heard of pelvic floor exercises, but this thing you could do and it'd restore you and what have you. And with MS, I found that I had the weakest bladder, which is one of the things alongside fatigue. So sometimes I could be seated on the toilet for an hour because constantly I would just be weeing all the time. And it was just it was awful. And I remember I saw this website, it was like Mutu something, and I quickly looked for it, and I found this thing. I quickly phoned up the lady, her name's Wendy Powell, I phoned her up, and I said, I need one of your trainers to come and train me. I really, I need help. I've got multiple sclerosis.
Okay, Jay, at this point, how much use of your body did you have? Where were you
right
in your physiology?
Only my right side.
Still
I had.
on,
So
still
the
only,
left was,
okay.
I was still dragging.
Right.
So yeah, anyway, I was still pretty much not able to use my left side.
Mm-hmm.
But I just started to think to myself, if the right side has come back, I've got to try. I really want to be mobile again, and I'm just not used to being a dependent person. I'm used to being so independent. So it's very hard to be dependent on my husband, or, like even going to the physiotherapy. They told me to go physio, and they basically just told me to accept that I'm going to get worse. So they were offering me like a walking stick, and I'm thinking, hold on, I'm only 37 years of age, and you're giving me a walking stick, and I didn't want to claim that over my life, but at the same time I was kind of scared, like, do I take it, do I not? And something just made me say, like, no, don't take it. So I did have a lot of trips and falls, which, yeah, I guess if I took the walking stick, it could have been avoided, but I just couldn't bring myself to really say, like, MS is a part of my life.
So that was your faith, your strength starting to,
It was literally
into.
mustard seed faith. It was very, how can I put it? I was so desperate to be well, but at the same time, everybody I'd met who had MS, so I'd go to the clinic, I might see them 1 month and they walk in, and the following month they'd be in a wheelchair, so as much as I wanted to believe I could get better, what I was seeing in front of me was that even if I slightly got better, I probably would have another relapse. So I started to kind of doubt.
So outwardly, there wasn't anything that you saw with other patients that made you feel hopeful?
No.
So you had to just really rely on your own internal...
Yeah, and just the fact that, my husband was really saying, like, we can do so much, just try, just be the strong person that you are, pray, and just focus. But, at the time, I was praying, but I was more questioning as well. I was just why? I just could not work out what I was going to get, or what kind of testimony I could give from saying that I'm in pain, I'm disabled, and I just didn't feel happy at all. So that was very hard.
So from there, you started your journey back to health through physical...
Well, I found it, I was so down, and normally when I get down, anyone who knows me, I'm thinking, give me cake, give me lots of food. So I was already overweight by like over 4 stone. I was already overweight by about, just over 4 stone. And so obviously being immobile, I'm getting heavier, bigger,
Not to mention the medication as well. Yeah.
I'd just taken the first week, I'd taken the steroids, and I just literally, I looked like I exploded. So yeah, I wasn't helping myself either way, because I was eating really badly. But I was just depressed, and I was like, well, when I normally get upset, I'm thinking, give me cake, give me whatever kind of comfort food. But on this particular day, I thought, no, I'm actually going to fast from like, I don't know, I think it was like 6 o'clock in the morning till 6. And then I just started having tea. I was really depressed. I was just like, what am I going to do if I don't get better? And I just changed my diet. I mean, I've come from a West Indian home, so like, we have a lot of like fried dumplings or rice and peas and chicken. And I just literally, I'd joined up with this Mutu system, and the lady just said, eat real food. And I was thinking, what are you talking about?
Eat real food, did
you
say? Okay.
I thought, what do you mean, eat real food? I was like, I do eat real food. What's wrong with the chicken? What's wrong with the rice and peas? Well, I just thought it is real food. I do have vegetables, but it's a side thing. So I was pretty much like, what? And then I started to look at what I started to eat, and I thought, okay, well, I'm not helping myself. I'm disabled, I'm overweight, I'm fat, and I'm losing my sight as well. And I was twitching. It was really weird. It was like, say I was somewhere, I would start twitching and my eye would start twitching and I just felt awful. So yeah, I started eating like just say roast chicken, but a whole load of vegetables. Started eating my fruits more. Gave up drinking tea and all the coffee, and I just started drinking herbal tea. So like my favourite even now is like ginger tea. So I'll have that. And I had really bad fatigue. I was always sleeping. I just found with the MS, and they said to me, you know, that's one of the things. And they said, when you feel tired, you have to sleep, so just sleep. And I thought, how can we run our home with me just sleeping?
Because this was all that so opposite to your life
Totally
before.
opposite. And I, like, you know, the thing is, I had to see like my husband doing both of our roles, and at the same time I had, you know, he's there for me, but I'm looking and thinking, this is madness. Look at me, I'm just sitting here, and you know, all those days I'm just eating rubbish, and I'm thinking I'm not helping. So imagine if he has to carry me, he's got to carry this big hefty woman, so I'm not helping. You know, imagine somebody having to do all the housework while you just sit. Or you just lay there.
So, sis, this affected your self-esteem as well as everything else.
I was at the worst point in my life. I mean, even my friends that I told I had MS, I didn't tell them like how bad I was because I wanted them to talk to me.
Yes.
Or like when we always exchanged text messages, I wanted them to just be the same. So I was trying to crack jokes, but none of them saw me. None of them actually saw me disabled. None of my family, apart from my husband.
She wouldn't allow any of us to come and see her.
I couldn't deal with anybody seeing me in that predicament, and I just thought, you know, people are used to me wearing my high-heeled shoes,
4
you
inches.
know, just, I don't know, 5 inches tall shoes, and I couldn't even put them on, much less, you know, I couldn't do anything. So it was the worst time, and, you know, it was a real struggle. So I thought, okay, so maybe I've seen everybody else really suffering, and maybe this is going to be with me. Maybe I won't have get past it. Maybe I will be one of those people that keep relapsing. But I've got to try and, you know, just eat healthy. Maybe if I can just feel a bit better. And
so what happened with the diet? What was the first sign of changes that you noticed?
I guess the first set of changes really was that I started losing weight, and in 10 years of being overweight, I'd never lost any weight. I mean, like really, I've never lost the baby fat in 10 years. So I changed my diet. So imagine I wasn't walking because I couldn't. So it was very hard to think that I could participate in any form of exercise. But like I say, you know, I was gradually, you know, so my right side was back, but the left was really weak.
Right.
But then that started motivating me. My faith started to grow, and I started thinking, all right, well, even if I do relapse, I need to enjoy this moment where I can actually move. So even, you know, the left side was really weak, and I had to just drag it. But I was just continuing, you know. And like I said, the Mutu exercises, they were very, very basic. You know, they have like these very easy levels. So it was like I wasn't really moving at all. It was just very, very simple. And what really I needed to change at the time, what really affected me, not just the pain, but was the fact that I was incontinent. So I just constantly, you know, when they said to me, oh, you're going to have the catheter bag.
I mean, what was that like? I can just only imagine
I was
knowing
just
you as
crying.
I do, and just thinking about, you know, a young woman in that situation.
I cried, and I cried. I don't even remember if I even told my husband, because I just thought, how's he going to look at me, like, you know, knowing that, you know, like, you know, this is the person that you love, and, you know, I just thought, how's he going to look at me when he realises that now I'm going to have a catheter bag 24/7 that we're going to be changing. I couldn't even accept it. So yeah, I started these exercises, but to be honest with you, they were so, all right, they appear to be so easy that I said, this is stupid. Why am I wasting my time? Why have I even wasted money on this thing that is so simple? Like, believe me, when I watched the video and she said, like, do one of the exercises and do this other one, I thought, this is not doing anything. And I thought, I might as well just join Weight Watchers and threw my money down the pan, knowing that I'm still going to go out and buy cake and whatever. But like I said, I was so desperate that I stuck with these basic pelvic floor exercises that's in the Mutu package. But most of these people that have joined the Mutu is because they want to get slim, that, you know, they've been able to lose weight, but they just can't lose the pregnant belly that they've got. So it's just the belly's bulging all the time, but they're probably slim all over. Whereas I was this fat person who's got MS. All I want to do is not have a catheter bag fitted. So at this point, I'm not even thinking if I'm overweight. I'm just like, please God, stop me from having this catheter bag installed. So yeah, I think it was like, I did the exercises for about a month, I think, and I realised sort of I could because it started building up.
Okay.
So like maybe an hour, I could go a whole hour without having to use the toilet, and then an hour, 15 minutes, and I started to write it down, saying, "Oh my God, it's working!"
So
it's
you
working.
were logging the little changes that were taking place.
And on top of that, what really shocked me was I had to keep going every week to the incontinence clinic because they were deciding whether to give me this catheter bag. So when I went, you should have heard the woman. The woman said, she goes, "What you doing?" I was like, "Why?" She goes, "I feel it." I was like, "What?" She goes, "You can control it." I was like, "What?" And she said, you've done it so you don't need it. When I tell you, I actually wrote on the Facebook page of the Mutu, like saying, "I can't believe it. I don't need the catheter bag." And everybody was happy for me, but I was so relieved. Even though I was still in pain with MS, it was just, at least that's one less thing that I have to worry about. You know, it was like there's some light at the end of the tunnel. And I didn't feel that way when I started, because the exercises, they just appear to be too, you know, like sometimes
it just seemed like you was doing nothing. Is that what you,
and you know, like sometimes if someone says to you, if something seems too good to be true, then it really is too good to be true. And that's how I felt, to be honest. And so the faith was so tiny, but
it was
when I saw that result, to somebody else that will probably be really little, but for me that was like, thank you. And I had to email the lady, Wendy Powell, and say to her, "Thank you so much. You don't know what you've done for me." And I started to sit down and started to say, you know, maybe that's what I'm supposed to learn from this, to be a bit more grateful. Maybe I've never been that really grateful person before.
So gratitude.
You know, I didn't, I'm saying now, everything I do, I try and look for the positive. Brilliant. Everything that happens to me, even though some of those things are negative, I just look at it and say, what am I supposed to learn?
Look for the positive.
What am I supposed to learn? And I know other people probably look at me and be like, just because she's been through MS, now everyone thinks like she's grateful. But you really don't know how much you appreciate your body until you go through something like that. Because you know, like through every time we have a family event, for the last 10 years, if our mum says, "Come round for dinner," do I turn up? No. I find any excuse not to show up. Or I turn up really, really late when everybody else has gone
home.
Because I just thought, why am I turning up to eat more food when everyone can clearly see that I'm overweight? And then you're going to go and somebody's going to come out with, "But you put down weight." Like I don't know, like I'm not buying the clothes. So yeah, it really did change my life in that aspect, that now, I'm not saying that I'm the slimmest person. I've still got like 2 stone to lose. But my thighs, they work. I can actually walk. So I love them.
It's about, it's being
like,
grateful for what you've got and who
Whereas
you are.
before I used to be standing in the mirror saying, "My God, look at the fat leg." And I want to hide. But I didn't appreciate the fact that I could walk. But the moment I couldn't walk,
you realise,
I was like, you know what, God, if only you can just make me mobile again. If you just make me mobile, I'll walk, I will park the car and I'll walk somewhere, and that's how I started to feel like, I'll try this, or I'll do it for me. Once I started doing this Mutu, I actually lost 3 stones in about 5 months, I think it was, just by changing my diet and doing just the basic pelvic floor. And then there was like, one of the most basic things that I never knew would even help is to do squats. That was the first thing that she was teaching on the program, to do squats. And I was thinking, how is that going to help? Like, isn't squats for your leg and your bottom? Like, how is that going to help?
Because the whole body is like a system, isn't
Exactly.
it?
So she teaches you that it's one. You don't separate it and say, I need to do ab exercises or I need... So I was like, wow. You know, I was really starting to learn.
So you woke up your sleeping muscles.
Totally. Believe me, I met new muscles after that. But yeah, I was... Honestly, it's... Multiple sclerosis was probably the kick that I needed to start loving myself, to start appreciating myself, and to appreciate my life that I've got. You know?
That was sort of a bad. It started off as a bad situation, but inside that, you found success. You found that you started to love you.
Totally.
And you started to take care of you.
Yeah, like, you know, as I was saying, I started to make lots of changes. So from the moment I got a little bit of feeling, so I still had severe pain, but I just didn't really focus too much on it. I used to take, I think there was, they gave me ibuprofen 500 milligrams. I used to take like 6 of them in one session.
Put 6 capsules. She's doing 6 tablets.
Just
so
to
6
get
times
through.
500.
Yeah, like just to get through. I think maybe that might last for 2 hours, maybe. But I was going through so many a day, and then I can't remember what the other one was called, another strong one. I can't remember what it's called, but I was taking both of them together just to knock out the pain. And I remember saying, like, no, now that I can walk, now that I can move, I said to my husband, I need you to find me the self-defense that I've always wanted to do. Find me Krav Maga, find me Krav Maga. And my husband looked at me
Can you explain that to the people?
So it's a Israeli martial art. So it's like street fighting. So anyway, my husband started searching, and I think so I was diagnosed in the April, and this happened in October. He searched, Googled Krav Maga, and we found that a Krav Maga session was going on around the corner from our house. And I'd searched for years and never found Krav Maga local to us.
They come at the right time.
It was literally, we could just walk around the corner and go. And so I started training one-to-one with the Krav Maga instructor. And he was so harsh. I mean, I thought he was going to be like, you know,
gentle.
She's got multiple sclerosis, and be really, you know. And he was like, let me see what you can do. And I was just really surprised.
At this point, Sis, where were you in your development? How much movement were you having at this point?
So I was able to move. I was able to walk.
Okay.
I lost my balance. So I was going to this place where they teach you your cognitive skills or something again. Because I had to retrain my brain how to hold things again. So like my left side especially was so weak. So I remember he said to try swimming. Skipping. That was it. To try skipping. And I couldn't skip. I just couldn't. It was like I couldn't get the coordination. It was so weird because I was always able to skip. And that was one of the things I couldn't do.
Wow.
And just doing push-ups. I've never been able to do them anyway. But I tried just doing the girly ones. But my left arm would just lock. And so I realised, I was like, that was my challenge. I've got to learn to do this. I've got to learn to do this. So yeah, we went through, and I think we did like 4 sessions. And then I realised I was absolutely petrified of going to this class. But I was like, MS is not going to beat me, and I'm not going to stop coming to this class. So I paid him up front for the whole month. So I had to go. And every time I was going, I'd be standing outside and oh my God, Lord, why have I come here? Why have I come here? Why have I come here? And then I'd get in. And I'd be like, right, I've got to go for it. And I remember the first time that I could do the press-ups, I was so shocked, just realising that by doing the Mu2, I built up the strength in my body, and my core muscles were getting so strong, which I'd never had before. Like, I've never been able to do press-ups ever in my life. Like, not at age 21, not in the teen, never. So I was so shocked. And then when I realised that I could do more repetitions of press-ups and squats, I started to feel really grateful. So like every time I would come home, as much as the tutor totally annoyed me because the class was so hard, and sometimes you would bring in these guys to come and pressure test. They give you a pressure test to show that you've learnt the technique. So you'd have to fight with the guys. So they'd put on, say like they were trying to attack me, so they'd put on the technique, and I'd have to show that I know the technique, how to get out and how to defend myself.
Still going through the healing process.
Still going through the healing process, still being in pain, still having my arm left side, totally lock up, and still being on heavily
So you were doing
medication.
this. I'm not even going to pronounce it. You were
Krav
doing this
Maga.
with men.
Yeah.
And tell them how tall you are, sis.
5'2".
Wow.
So very short, and these guys were, some of them were massive. You would hear my trainer saying, "Come on, if she doesn't block, punch her," and I'm like, oh my Lord, I've got to do the technique, because I was petrified. But then, as he was saying, you know, when you're on the street,
Yeah.
no one's going to be all softly because you're a woman.
Exactly.
And the only reason why I really wanted to do this self-defense was because I thought, if I'm going to have MS and I'm out with my children, what if someone attacks me? And not only is my body part shutting down, I don't even know how to defend myself or look after my children. So I just wanted to learn something really quick that was going to just give me a quick technique that I could, you know, even if I can't run fast, I can just get rid of the person and have my children and know that they're safe. And that's where that helped. And so just doing the Mutu and the urban Krav Maga, it just sort of pulled everything together.
Wow.
And like I said, at the end of it all, I'm grateful to my husband, grateful to my trainer, grateful to the Mutu system. You know, it's like, and I just thought, it's like God just directed me. Because all of these things, I've always wanted to lose weight. And I've never done it. And I've never had the willpower to eat healthy. And then all of a sudden, my body is totally, everything that I normally take for granted is taken away from me. And I have to pause now because there's nothing else I can do. I can't run. I can't escape from it. I can't run from this body that's, you know,
Trapped
disabled
you,
from the
you
neck
feel
down.
trapped, yeah,
I can't do
yeah.
anything. So, yeah, you know, and reading the statement from my neurologist, he said, because of the amount of lesions on my spine and on my brain, that he knows, you know, that I'm prone to high risk and having lots of relapses. And, you know, within those 3 months, I had so many relapses. So my outlook wasn't bright. And so to keep having the relapses and then to be at a stage now where, you know, I was telling you, sis, that I received a letter from the neurologist. It was early this year, and they said they're going to discharge me from the clinic. So imagine, I should have been happy, everybody, but I was like, what? I phoned up the neurologist secretary. I said, how dare you discharge me? What if something happens? You know, I was just so shocked. Like, how did? And then the second letter came from the incontinence clinic saying, you know, there's nothing wrong. Should you need us in the near future, go through your GP for a referral. And everybody, I should have been happy. But all I could think was, my God, what if I... And then I paused. And I said to the woman on the phone, I'm ever so sorry. And I hung up. And I started jumping around the house. I was like, oh my God! I was like, thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lord. And I remember just updating my Facebook status because I couldn't believe it. Everybody on Facebook had been through my journey with me. And at this point, you know, I should have just been like, yes, they don't want to see me anymore. But, you know, the first thing that was like, what? You know, you told me not to get happy. And, you know, now they're telling me they don't want me on their books. So I was like, this is ridiculous. Keep me on the books, you know. And I was even saying to my sister recently that I always park in the disabled bay. Why? You know, it's like, it came so automatic. Oh, disabled. And then it was like parking the big, broad child bay because, you know, oh, you need to open the door wide to come out. And it only hit me recently. I was like, why? You know, like, you don't need to do this anymore. So it's so strange how, you know, you can accept something and just keep doing stuff constantly without realising that change has come. And I didn't realise, you know, that it wasn't until they actually sent me the letter to say...
That confirmation.
You've been taken off.
And especially coming from them because they weren't even expecting this.
Because
full
every time
recovery.
I went, you know, every time I'd say, oh, this is something that's positive, they'd be saying, well, don't get too happy because... And I just thought... Yeah, they got a point because everybody I'd spoken to had it, you know. One minute they're saying to me, oh, you know, I'm feeling so much better this month. And I see them the following month and they're blind, you know. So just experiencing those different things, I really value being able to see and just being able to do things. And that's why I really challenge myself with the self-defense. Now I make sure I exercise every day. I mean, the exercises that I do, it's only 15 minutes anyway, which is why anyone who knows me as well will know that I'm not a fan of exercise. I'm normally a lazy person. So if you tell me to do something for an hour every day, it's going to be like, oh no, let me just get my loud music, boom, 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 and then I'll do it. But it was a struggle for me. But when I found this and it was like 15 minutes, I was like, psh, I can do 15 minutes, like easily. And like I say, the only reason why I stuck with it is because I lost everything. And when you lose everything, you value everything yes. when you get it back. So for me, there's no going back to not exercising again. And if I can't do all the exercise, I make sure I do a bit of walking for 30 minutes, whatever it is. And, just changing my diet, really. There's so many things or the so-called what I class as naughty food that I used to think, I can't imagine not eating it anymore. But it's not that you don't have to eat anymore, but just restrict your portions and don't have it every day. If you want to have something that's naughty, that I classed as really naughty food, like fried dumplings, absolutely love them. But I'm not going to have it every day.
Yeah,
and I'm not going to be eating 6 of them every day,
isn't it?
Yeah, just be moderate in what you do. You should enjoy life. Like I say, like now, I'm so happy, and I just feel grateful for everything. But I'm not going to, be so restricted that I'm like, oh, I'm only going to eat spinach forever. It's like, I want to be happy, but I want my body to be strong, and I want to see my children grow, and I want to, if I'm living, I want to be healthy. I don't want to be living with ailments and just accept it. I don't want to be like, oh yeah, I've got high blood pressure, but it's normal.
Yeah, totally.
I don't want to accept that as part of my life. So the only way I can change that is by making that first change within myself.
Okay, what we're going to do, we're going to have a quick break, and then when you come back, you're going to just talk about what life is like for you today. Going to play a track that you asked for, Bob Marley, Conquering Lion. Yeah. So, what does this song mean to you, sis?
This song actually reminds me a lot of my gran.
Okay, our gran.
She used to sing this song quite a few times, and it really just, like when I hear it now, it just reminds me of her. And she was such a strong person. And I knew if Gran was alive, you know what Gran's like, sis. If Gran was alive when I had MS, the first thing she would have said to me, you are healed. She wouldn't have batted an eyelid. She wouldn't just say to me like, oh no. She wouldn't have been just crying. She'd have been like, let's pray. And she would have been like, you're healed. And I would have had that backbone, that fire in me. And, she was just thinking of what she'd be like, really encouraged me. So this song definitely reminds me of my gran, being a very strong woman.
Right, okay. And here's a song.
The Lion of Judah shall break every chain. The Lion of Judah, tell you what, shall break every chain. Give us the victory again and again. The conquering lion shall break every chain. The conquering lion shall break every chain. Children, the conquering lion shall break every chain. Give us again and again. The Lion of Judah shall break every chain. The Lion of Judah shall break every chain. The Lion of Judah shall break every chain. Well, give us, don't you know? take it again and again. Give us a kiss again and again.
Okay, we are back, and yes, Jeanette's story is very powerful, very emotional. But as you can hear, she's here, and her life is totally different to what it was back then 2 years ago. So Jeanette, just share with the people how different things are for you, just in terms of mobility and your health, and how things are. What's a normal day in the life of Jeanette today?
Okay, so normal day for me is probably waking up either just before 6 or dead on 6 o'clock. And again, from Mutu system, Wendy Powell, she writes lots of blogs, but she said to try taking honey in the morning, 1 teaspoon. So every morning I take 1 teaspoon, not of cheap honey, not that squeezy whatever, I'm talking proper honey. So I spend like either $8.99 or, I can't remember, it's quite expensive, on Manuka honey.
And that's in place of sugar and things like that. Okay.
So I take 1 teaspoon of that every morning, first thing. And I'll probably have like ginger tea or something like that. And I tend to be rushing around because I've still got children, so I'm rushing doing the school run and what have you. But before I couldn't even dream of doing things as normal. So, my life now is just, I'm back on track, but much better. So, being able to go to work is an absolute blessing, really. Because the way I used to feel really tired, I can't explain it, but that's where the honey totally balances it out for me. So even if I have very little sleep, because I'm actually studying at the moment.
Oh right, do you want to share?
I'm studying.
This is where she is now, working, studying, 2 children.
Our brother,
Oh yes.
Our brother, Carl Foster, wrote a
Oh.
book called Self-Made. And when this book came out, I was saying to him, yeah, I'm going to buy it straight away. So as soon as it was released, I remember ordering it from Amazon, I think, and then it took me longer to get it. So I was like, I should have just gone to Waterstones, I think it was, that it had it in the first place. But it came, and when I was growing up, I've always loved maths so much, but I'm not good at it.
So tell the story of you being when you was 7 and
exactly.
Yeah.
So I've never been great or excellent or somebody you would say analytical, but I've always loved maths. And so when my brother's book came out, called Self-Made, I was reading it, and I came across where is it? I came across a chapter in there called The Conscious and the Subconscious Mind. But the one that really hit me was in the book, it's called The Art of Creative Visualization.
Yes.
And it said, whatever you visualize repeatedly will materialize into your reality. Focus only on the positive and improving the quality of your life. And I thought, I'm reading it and I'm saying it's all positive and, it's great. But the one that hits me, and I actually look at this every day, I have written it in my phone, in my notebook, and every day I read it. It says, successful people visualize themselves being successful before they've actually achieved it.
Wow.
Now, when I was 7, I had a godmother. She's passed away now, but she worked for the Bank of England. And I was always so impressed by, she works for the Bank of England. And at 7, I said to my mum, dad and gran, you wouldn't know this.
No,
but I said to them,
I was growing up and gone by then.
I said, I want to work in a bank. And my mum, she was like, oh, that's nice. She's thinking, oh, nice bank job, yes, And I remember I told the teacher at school, not my maths teacher, but my form teacher. And she looked at me and she said, she said, Jeanette, if it was for effort, 100% yes. So, but skills-wise, no, you don't stand a chance. So I was like, what? So I was like, all right, maybe I'm not great, but I love this subject. It is like, for me, it was maths, English, and music and drama. Those are my favourite subjects. But I knew I wasn't the best at maths. But, you know, I wasn't rubbish, but I wasn't the best. So she kept telling me that I wasn't analytical. But then, in the third year of school, so when I chose my options, a black teacher came in. His name, if he's listening, Nigel Boyd. He came and he was our maths teacher. And he started doing the after-school maths club. Now, my mum is strict.
Our mum is very strict.
I said to my mum, if I said to my mum when I was younger, oh, mum, can I go to the library? She's like, what? Go library? You man? Library? Which man you going to see? So she was really strict. So I was petrified to tell her that there was this after-school maths club. So I spoke to the maths teacher, and he was giving out the letters for it. And our school was actually next door to where we lived, so it wasn't really too bad. But my mum was strict. So I said to my mum, this after-school maths is only up until, I can't remember, it must have been like up until the September or something. So my mum was like, we'll think about it. But I just knew. For me, I was like, I know she's going to say no. And then she came back and said, yes, you can go, but anyhow, past the hour. And I just thought, if anyhow 4 o'clock come and I am not at that door, I don't want to turn up at home. So, you know, I was petrified, but I really, really wanted to try and go because the maths teacher, he was so good. And I think as well, because he was black, I could relate to him. And on top of that, I think he could relate to the fact that I had a passion for the numbers, but I didn't understand the rules of maths. I didn't get that there was a rule to each of them. I just thought, how do these people know? How do these people know? But he taught me the rules. And I remember after we did that, we picked our options, but they sent us to the careers office. And I remember I applied for, Coots & Co. and NatWest Bank.
Oh, right.
And I remember the interview, the letter came when I turned 15, the letter came for the interview. And I remember my gran, she was like, praise God. And she was like, you get interviewed, job, I come. And I was like, wow.
That's her gran.
You know, my gran was so excited for me. And she was like, me go and pray, you're going to get this job. And I was just thinking, will I get the GCSE results that I'm supposed to get? Like, oh my, you know, I was like, oh no. But my gran, her faith was so strong. She was like, you go and get it, Gigi, you go and get it. And I was just like, wow. And she actually came with me to the interview. And when I got the job, I couldn't believe it. The letter came, but I was 15. I didn't turn 16 until the July, but school finished in May, I think it was. So I did my exams, but I got the letter back saying I got the job. I went straight to the form teacher. I said, look. And she couldn't believe it. And when she looked at the salary that they offered, she said, you're going to be earning more than me?
Wow.
That was the first time that I said, praise the Lord. Because I thought, shame on you. You told me that I wasn't good enough. And I'm going to be earning more than you at 16 and I'm going to work in a bank. So yeah, it was like...
So let me just interject here. The moral of this story, people... You know, if you've got your children and they want to do things, you know, encourage them and, you know, let them, because from the age of 1 to 7, children are building, you know, they got this brain that is taking everything in. So if somebody like a teacher says, you know, you can't, you believe that.
Yeah.
So you were really good to override that, sis.
But that's all I could see though, sis. I didn't imagine doing anything else. That was the thing.
You saw that on the inside.
Yeah, I didn't really... Yeah. There wasn't anything else that I'd thought, I want to do. That's all I could say. I was like, I want to work for a bank. But I didn't really think about doing anything else. So
you were using creative visualization
without
even knowing it. Wow.
Totally.
So now what else is going on?
Gosh, I mean, life is just normal now. I mean, normal, but obviously just pain-free. Not going for, I mean, it's such a relief not to feel the fatigue of MS. It's such a relief to have actually control over my body, because, you know, the fact when you have MS, you have no control of your muscles. So that, you know, it's very hard to know that not being able to control your eye, like, how can you not be able to control your eyes? You know, it's just, I can't even, when I'm thinking about it now, I almost feel like I'm talking about somebody else because it seems so far from me, and I want it to stay so far from me that when I'm looking, it's almost like as if I'm, you know, I'm channeling in and thinking, what was it like? Because it was the worst time of my life. And then to be here now, on the other side of it, where I can say to people, I don't have MS pain, I don't have MS fatigue, I don't have my nervous system where my eyes are just wandering or twitching, or, you know, my body just shaking and twitching. You know, it's so hard, you know, when I'm around people and I see them suffering from MS, and I think to myself, that was me. That's how, you know, I look back and I think that was me. And, you know, I wasn't happy with MS, whereas I've met people who you still see them smiling. You know, they still manage the positive. And I wasn't at that place. Like, I really wasn't at that place. For me, it was like, if I can't get out of this predicament with MS, I don't want to be here.
So in a way, your non-acceptance of it made you sort of deny it. It's like, I'm not accepting this. I'm not going to carry this. I'm going to. I have to, because it's either I have to go over this, I have to get better.
Do you remember that day when I sent you that email saying to you, sis, I'm healed? Do you remember you was trying to tell me about green juice? Was it green juice or something?
Juice.
You were trying to tell me. Do you remember that? Yeah, so it was like, I started, because I'd seen that I was recovering, able to do the Mutu exercises, able to do self-defense, able to go swimming again, you know, able to go to the gym, participate, start walking places, you know, like sometimes me and my daughter, we can walk up to like my son's nursery. I couldn't even imagine doing that before, you know, so the doors have been opened now, and I want to live my life in gratitude and just live it to the fullest, you know, just living right and just consciously and just being aware that every part of my body is a complete blessing to me. And that's really how I feel, you know. There's so many things where I'd be speaking negative before, like, oh, I don't like this, I don't like that. But now it's not that I don't like, I appreciate it, and if it needs changing, it's going to change.
So it's about, so your message there would be to appreciate your health, appreciate everything about you.
Definitely.
You know, don't say I don't like this part of my body.
Definitely.
Because when it's not working, you know.
Definitely.
Yeah.
I've actually got a Facebook quote that I use, because I realised that I was one of those people that, you know, I hate this about me, I hate that about me, and then look, when everything was taken away, you know, all I was saying was, just give me what I had. You know, I don't need to be any better, just give me what I had. my status, that I have a backdrop quote, and I don't think I'll ever change it.
Can you read that out?
It says, stop hating yourself for everything you aren't. Start loving yourself for everything that you are.
Wow.
And
read that again, please, sis.
So, stop hating yourself for everything you aren't. Start loving yourself for everything that you are.
Wow.
And that's how I feel about myself now. About if you've got limitations, you know, there's physio. If you've got, like, I had my left arm always was locking. And, you know, just doing simple exercises totally unlocked it. Till now, you know, can you see? I'm actually holding my hand up. I've never been able to do that. You know, so when you have MS, it leaves scars. So it's like, so when my left side went, what the damage that was left with my arm was totally, it would just lock. So I couldn't like raise it up in the air. But, you know, obviously the pain was gone. So, you know, they would say to me, so you've got scars from it. So we can do exercises to help you be able to unlock it and to ease the pain. But it's that it will go back or be, but you just be left with scars. And the time you have a relapse, you get different scars, and, you know, tissue would be damaged, and you just move on. So to see that state where none of that locking, you know, hands can actually be, you know, so I can go in that second emotion because I could before. And they explained to me that, okay, you're out of relapse and now you can move your arm, but you can't do this. That's just my limitation. But I didn't accept that was my limitation. You know, I saw the exercises on YouTube. I saw, you know, just like unking the arm, doing some stretches, doing certain stretches.
Yeah, that's what I was going to ask you next. How has you know, exercise and eating impacted your life out, and family, you know, what?
Well, we're all into the whole exercise, especially my husband. He's always been into the exercise and self-defense. He trains like every day, all the time. But yeah, you know, it's a life. I started my mum so you know, it's a part of this. None of to be sitting and body, and just do that show up to yourself. And it teaches you that 15 minutes are not worth 15 minutes. I am worth 15 minutes of just doing, whether it be stretches or of intense exercise. 15 minutes out of my day is nothing.
So you advocate doing 15 minutes a day of exercise, say 5-6 times a day for
you don't need to do an hour or 2 hours of exercise.
Because that can be quite daunting for people.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
See, someone like me, I didn't like the whole try and get sweaty, and sometimes I would do exercise and I couldn't sweat, and I would be thinking, but I feel out of breath. But
you're not
I'm not
sweating,
sweating,
yeah.
you know, and it's like, what? Whereas I do these 15 minutes, they are intense, but I see the results. Whereas I was doing exercise before and I didn't see any result. So it's, you know, it's just so strange that, like I say, it's like God just directed me into this. Everything that I needed to do, the path was there. And all the times before, I'd be sort of like, yeah, I want to do this, I want to do it. But I didn't actually go searching for it.
Okay.
So, like I always say, what Gran always used to say to me, you know, seek and you shall find, you know, knock and the door will be opened. And before, I used to just sit and say, yeah, I would like to do that. But I wasn't actually seeking anything out. I'd be like, yeah, it'd be good to do that. Whereas this time, I was in such a bad place that I seeked it out, and I was like, I found it, you know. So it was like everything was just there in front of me to help me, and it was up to me to take up the challenge and actually do. Because so many times things come to you, but you know, if your mind is still saying, you know, you're still in the same place, like, oh, it's not going to work, I can't be bothered, then you won't do it. So in my mind, I had, like I said, very tiny faith, mustard seed faith, and I just thought, give it a try. And that's what I did. I gave it a try, and in the back of my mind, I was like, this just seems too good to be true. I didn't think it was going to work. But when I saw little bits of results, I was like, oh, maybe I should keep doing it. And then when I saw, you know, literally 100% result, I was like, I've got to keep going. And if something works, it doesn't mean now that I've lost a lot of weight or my health has been restored that I'm going to stop doing it. Because that's another thing that I'll say. What I found was, with multiple sclerosis, there was a couple of days where I thought, yeah, right, I'm fine now. I don't need to exercise anymore. So I stopped. What do you think happened?
Ooh.
What do you think happened?
You started to see.
I felt pain in my back, all the way from like the bottom, all the way up to my neck, and I was like, so this means I can't stop doing the exercise.
It's a way of life.
So you know, like, because I've had years of being lazy, so to change my mind, it's not
easy.
something
Isn't-
that's going to happen overnight.
yeah.
And I think that's why I say
You've got to create a new habit now.
exactly.
That's got
And the
to-
reason
yeah.
why the Mutu system thing worked for me is because she said eat real food. She didn't say stop eating what you're used to. She didn't say you can't if you like
So
chicken
not too
or
much
salmon.
pressure was put on
But
you,
it was like, just don't get all this packaged food. Don't go out and buy junk food. Cook your own food so you know what's in it. And so it wasn't too hard for me to do.
Right.
So, you know, it wasn't like, oh, I can't do this because I cook for myself anyway. But it was now just thinking, don't, you know, use
Don't
certain
overdo,
things.
yeah.
And, you know, to use coconut oil, which is one of the major things.
Yeah, can you explain about, because I don't know if a lot of people know that coconut oil is a good oil to cook with.
It's
rather than-
fantastic.
yeah.
I mean, I think they even say
if you're going to cook food.
it's. I think even the dentist. I went to my dentist and he was saying that it's so good for your gums and your teeth. I was like, what?
Absolutely.
I
Absolutely.
think it even stops. They say like, you know, it like stops certain illnesses. It's supposed to be really
Yeah,
good.
it's
but
very, very good.
I mean, like I said, I really wanted my health restored. So I followed the Mutu system down to the last T. But when I realised, yeah, I'm healthy, I thought 2 days.
Started
I
going
was
back
like, right, I'll take a day off. And I must have took like about 2 days off. And I just felt this pain in my back. I was like, whoa, where did that come from? And I realised, you know, it works. So don't stop and revert back to where you were to end up with the same results. If you want something different, you've
Do
got to do
something,
something
absolutely,
different.
absolutely.
So, you know, it wasn't easy. I'm not going to say to anybody, you know, giving up certain foods or just moderating your portions, because
Yeah, 'cause portions are very
portions
important,
play
yeah.
a big role. I think I think a lot of times we know, but when you're so used to doing something, why do you want to change? When you enjoy, you know, I enjoyed eating bad food. I didn't necessarily feel good afterwards, but at the time I'd be like, yes, this is so tasty, and then afterwards I'd be like, ooh, maybe I shouldn't do that again. And then next week doing exactly the same thing, you know, eating the same bad food. So this totally changed my life, and you know, it made me say, like, you know, to my daughter, to my husband, oh, we've got to change, you know.
So it was a family thing. It
Yeah,
wasn't
even
just
like
you.
chocolate. We used to love milk chocolate. Now we only buy dark chocolate
Yeah,
because that's better for you. So you can
That's
have like
healthy,
one
yeah.
square
exactly.
every
Still
other
enjoy
day,
it, yeah.
but not like let me eat milk. We used to love milk chocolate. Like my husband, he used to love it, but now I'm like, you're
The
only
dark
having
chocolate is
dark
not
chocolate.
as addictive
Not
because
at
it's
all.
good. It's got
But
all
it's
the
tasty.
nourishment
We
in
buy
there,
that
yeah.
Lindt one. It's like 80% chocolate. So it's, you know, it's not going to damage you. But
absolutely.
if you're going to be eating a whole bar with all the E numbers and, you know, it's just.
Yeah.
But I didn't, you know, things like that. I didn't really think about. I just thought it's a treat. You know, it's life. You know, you give up all these things. What's wrong with having chocolate or, you know, cake or whatever? But you learn. You know, it's like now I've just learned so many things. So I just appreciate life, and I think, you know, anyone who's got MS, you'll know that fatigue is one of the worst things, alongside the pain, but the constant tiredness. So when Wendy said to have the Manuka honey, 1 teaspoon every morning, and I tried
So
it,
you have that
couldn't
in
believe
you,
it.
okay.
Yeah, I couldn't believe that something like that would actually work. And number one, I hate honey. So it was quite a shock to actually first
Wow.
get that teaspoon and be like,
So that
'Cause I'm
goes.
not-
So that goes in your tea. Yeah,
I don't
maybe?
really use it like that. I just take
How
it
do
in the
you-
morning. I just take
Oh,
1
just a spoon?
teaspoon
Oh, wow.
and put it on my tongue and
Okay.
just go. But I don't like it. So, you know, like I say, I've changed because
You have
it
to,
works.
you have to, yeah.
I didn't like the fact that I was always tired, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and where I'm studying as well now, sometimes I'll stay up later because I'll put the children to bed,
Right,
and then I
yeah.
need to stay awake later on to just be able to, you know, finish doing my studies
Mm-hmm.
and everything like that. So then from there, I need that energy. So I have 1 teaspoon in the morning and 1 teaspoon at night. And then in the morning when I wake up, even if I've only had 4 hours sleep, I'm full of life. Do I look tired?
Not at all. She's more awake than all of us.
But it does work.
What we want to do is just do some big ups. Some people are ringing in, and they want to, you know, just kind of share. So we've got, Natty Dread. Big up to you. Errol Watson, Claude Iron Lion, Anne Marie James, and Julie Mack. Diane is loving the show, and she loves the guests. She thinks you're awesome.
Thank you.
We've also got Junjo and Lele and Sean Goody as well.
Thank
so
you.
these are everyone's, you know, they're really rooting for you, sis.
Thank you very much, everyone. Appreciate you all.
So sis, what would you say to anybody out there who's got any challenges with their health, whether it's MS or something else, and they're sick, you know, they've got the doctor's appointments, they're being told to take medication, and, you know, they're not, maybe they're feeling a bit like you were, things are getting worse for them rather than better, and what would you say to them, anyone who might, or anyone who knows anybody who's in a situation?
I'd say, I mean, obviously because I've been there, people do try it, like people try it and speak positive to you, but when you're in such a situation, you know, it's like, it's almost like as if when somebody dies and someone tries to console you, so they're saying, don't worry, but you are worrying, you know, and when you're in pain, it is very hard. But, you know, what I will say is that what I've realised is that no matter what you go through, you are a strong person. The fact that you're still here, it shows how strong you are, because I really didn't think that I'd be able to be on a show like this and say to anybody that I'm here on the other side of multiple sclerosis. And I think you just need to, I think you just need to appreciate yourself and try. There's people that I've met that actually have multiple sclerosis and they are happy within themselves. And I think that's important. And I think if that's what I could have changed, or the advice I would have given to myself at that time, I would have given myself that advice to be happy regardless, because I was still alive, I was still breathing, I could still see. And I literally had to push myself. I had to, there's a saying, or like, there's like the acronym PUSH, and it's pray until something happens. And I sort of started to believe that. And I know if my gran was alive, as I was saying to you, sis, just yesterday, I was saying, if gran was alive, I know she would have been saying to me, pray until something happens, and also do, you know, not just like, when I read up on certain things, so like with the Mutu system, I knew I was really tired. There was something there. I could have just said, I'm not going to try, but I tried. And I think the important thing is not to give up, because I was ready to give up.
Yeah.
And my husband was so positive, but I was ready to give up. And I think, you know, when you're in the worst place, it's so easy to just think, right, I'm not happy, I want to give up. But I think don't give up. Just push, really push your way through. Just try and speak life into your life. Because as I said to you, sis, when you sent me that email trying to tell me about hell, I can't remember what it was.
I was talking about my beloved green juice.
Green
and blah,
juice
blah.
and something.
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you was trying to encourage me, but at that point I was like, you know what? And I know a lot of people thought she's crazy because they could still see that my left side was weak, but I started to speak life in my life. And every day, and I still do this now, every day I write in my phone a text message to myself.
Yeah, that was amazing when you told me that. That's fantastic.
Literally. Because yet again, when me and Carlos, our brother, we were talking and he wrote his self-made book, but before that, we read The Secret, which is literally ask, believe and receive. It's said in there to write, thank you, thank you, thank you. I am so happy and so grateful for whatever it is. And every day I would pray and I'd be like, thank you, God, for my healing. And if somebody asked me about MS, I'd be like, I'm healed. And I know they're looking at me like, you are not healed. Can you not see that your left side is
you
dead?
You refuse to own it.
But I realised, I was like, speak the word over your life. And I just had to speak life into my life. And that is how I live my life now. Wherever I find that because you still, everything that you do, there's certain things that you might find that is difficult or a challenge. And I always say, I can do this. Others have gone on before and they have done it, so there's nothing wrong with me. I might just have to find a different way of learning or a different way of adapting to be able to do this thing. And so, like I said, using the Mutu system, it taught me how to do the press-ups and the squats properly, but at such a slow pace. Whereas if I'd gone to a class when I was able-bodied, I probably would have tried it and just given up. But this was at a beginner's pace that if somebody who could do all these exercises looked at it, they'd be like, what rubbish is this? Like that easy level, why do you need to do that? But that's where I needed to be.
That's where you needed to be.
And that's how that literally put life back into me.
So you would say to anybody out there who's going through anything, even it might not even be a health thing, it might just be something that they just feel, I've got no control. And you would say to them, start speaking positive, speaking what you want it to become.
Speak it into existence.
And start seeing
literally.
It as well.
Yeah, honestly, I write everything down. So before I got the job that I'm in now, I remember on the train, I actually wrote, thank you, thank you, thank you. And I wrote, I am so happy and so grateful for my new job. Then I wrote, thank you, thank you, thank you.
You have to see the outcome.
And I saw myself.
First, yeah.
And I remember actually saying, I sat on the train and I looked out and I thought, I can see myself here. And I visualised myself in that job, doing what needed to be done. But the job required, here we go again, a maths 2-1 degree,
I remember you telling me
which I
that,
don't have, everybody, but I got it.
She got the job.
So I saw myself, I prayed on it, and I knew that those words, ask, believe and receive, ask and it shall be given. But you've got to believe. I couldn't come with the doubt.
It's very important.
I couldn't doubt at that point. I really needed this job.
Yeah.
It wasn't like, maybe, or it doesn't really matter. I needed it so badly. And I was like, I've got to get it. So regardless, I'd actually applied for this job 3 times. And they said, because I don't have the 2-1 degree in maths, I was rejected. And then the company direct came to me.
Wow.
And asked me to come to the interview. And when I got to the interview, what do you think happened? They asked 2 maths questions that I did not know. And they still gave me the job. So I know.
Once you plant that seed,
I'm telling you, I know.
Yeah,
and
what is yours?
I had to share that because it's not just the fact that I had MS, and I disclosed that in the interview. I said, look, I had to learn to do things again. You know, so it's not like I'm coming here and I'm saying, I've got this 2-1 degree. I didn't lie, I didn't do anything like that. I just went in as myself. Yeah. But I knew I needed this job. I knew I wanted this job, and I saw myself in that job. Even when I sat in the chair for the interview, I looked around and I thought, I see myself here working. And I spoke life into what I wanted. And when it came through, believe me, I spoke to the man on the phone, and when he said, you have the role.
A lot of noise, I can imagine. Oh my God.
So, you know, I know that you can have positivity regardless of circumstances. So, yeah, you know, I think if I could leave anything with anyone, it would be to... I don't even know if I can say that I believed in myself, because I really didn't. When you lose everything and you lose all feeling in your body and you're left with pain or you're left disabled, I think it's so low. I felt worthless, I really did, and I felt so inadequate. But a little glimpse of feeling in my body gave me mustard seed faith. Yeah. And I really have to say it was mustard seed faith, but I built on that. And like I said, I began to visualize seeing myself being healed. And the moment I started to speak that, I was getting better. And it was a progressive healing as well. So it wasn't like, I'm not saying to everyone, oh yeah, I woke up and I was just fine. No, it wasn't. It was steps. Yeah. Because I made those changes because I wanted change in my life. I really needed the change. It wasn't like I just wanted. I needed to be able to walk again. I needed to be able to move my arms again. I needed to see properly again. You know, I wanted to see my children. I wanted to see my husband. I wanted to see my mum. You know, there was just so many things that I really wanted to do, and now I'm doing them. So, you know, don't give up. Whatever you're going through, for me, whatever I go through, it's God first, and I talk to God like how I talk to my sister. You know, I'm like, Lord, explain to me, tell me why I'm going through this, and I pray, and I focus, and I realise there must be something in me that I change. You know, whenever you want a change, you've got to be willing to change as well. Because I'm not going to say that it was easy for me to give up eating bad food, and I'm not going to say that it was easy for me to start exercising, even though it's just 15 minutes a day. It wasn't easy.
Yeah, you've got to do the journey forward, haven't you? You've got to go.
It really wasn't an easy thing to do, but I'd hit rock bottom, and you know, when you hit rock bottom, the only way is up. You can't go any further. You know, I was the only other thing that could have happened, I would have died. So I'd hit rock bottom. I couldn't have got any further down, and so here I am, upright, standing, mobile, pain-free. You know. Anyone out there going through MS, you know, I pray for you. I send out all positive energy. If all you can remember is to take Manuka honey in the morning to get rid of fatigue, try it, because trust me, it works. The fatigue for me is gone. Believe me, I've had probably like 5 hours sleep yesterday, and I'm still wide awake now, just on 1 teaspoon of Manuka honey in the morning. So if you have fatigue, even if whether you have MS or not, try it. It works.
I'll get mine. So sis, about health in general, because we're looking at sort of health in our community, and so many people are suffering with all sorts of, you know, different ailments, and even we know in our own family, obviously with yourself and other members, there's been, you know, kind of all sorts of because we did a show last week with Douglas Williams, and we were talking about how, you know, certain foods, the sort of white flour, the potatoes, all these different things, and you know how black people in the community at the moment are really, you know, health is such a big important area for us. You know, what's your thoughts on that in general?
I mean, I know it is such a big issue, but I mean, for me, I still love my West Indian food, and I think if you just cook it, the way we prepare it, I think it's more about preparation rather than saying you can't eat it. So like I was saying to you, I use the coconut oil. I know, like, growing up, we always had fried plantain. And you know, like, when you go into, like, the restaurants, when you squeeze it, it's, like, filled with oil.
It's just covered.
But, like, remember Mum just grills it. before all this diabetes and whatever other ailments and high blood pressure, we were frying. But now the alternative is to grill, and it still tastes lovely, you know. And even at home, because I know coconut oil is good, I will put some coconut oil in and I'll put the plantain in, and it tastes absolutely delicious.
And also talk about how getting children involved in preparing foods.
Yeah, I mean,
as well.
It's definitely worthwhile teaching your children how to cook anyway. But if they, you know, because obviously it's nice for them to get involved, help to prepare, and at the same time, you know, if they like to eat good, healthy food, teach them how to make it. That would stop them from having to go and buy a takeaway, because we all know, you know, you can go out and buy the chicken and chips for £1, and it's quick. You know,
Poison.
frying or grilling a plantain is really quick. If you grill it, you know, you're talking like, I guess, 10 minutes, and your plantain's done.
So what you're saying as well is people can just make small changes. You don't have to completely...
It's not like eliminate everything, because I mean...
small changes will start making a difference.
Even what I was doing for Kayla and Izzy, my daughter and my son, is making sweet potato chips rather than... So just cutting the sweet potato and then baking it. Just, you know, really, I can't... Just simple, nothing... Because obviously I want them to be healthy. I don't want for my daughter or my son to grow up and go through what I've been through at all. So whatever I can do to try and eliminate that, I will. You know, and you know, obviously people go through certain ailments, but it's what you do in that time. Are you still going to continue as normal and be like, you know, I've got this ailment, just accept it, and then just eat incorrect, not move?
You know, that's the thing. I think people don't always realise how food is so important.
It's very important. I didn't realise that sugar was such a number one killer. I mean, I always thought like, I didn't really think, like, I can't explain it. It's like...
Well, that's the thing. Most people are not thinking. You're just buying what you're used to, what you've been
you know,
grown up
and
on.
not even just that, it's the hidden sugars. I didn't realise that even sometimes when you're cooking where you would add sugar or... I didn't even think about it. That's what, you know, I don't mean like, oh, I didn't think sugar was a baddie kind of thing, but I just didn't realise that it's hidden so many times. I didn't think about it.
So many products.
So you know, like, especially within the black community, you know, the foods are so tasty. But you know, it's true. You know, like you can just go like to a wedding or something, and you're like, my lord, you could just stand by the table and just keep eating because the food is just delicious. You know, and it's like you just can't stop, and the food is in abundance always. So it's not like you just have one serving.
Well, food is such a big thing in our community.
It
isn't
is.
it?
You know, if you have a wedding or you have a birthday party, it's like, what food? What, you're gonna have food?
And people
you know,
spend a fortune on all this.
I mean, remember me always with the caterers all the time. You know, and the cakes.
I know.
I mean, you know, it's like, you know, we do have that diet where yes, the food is very tasty, but like I say, for me now, it's a one-off. Maybe on my birthday, I'll have a tiny portion, but when I prepare it myself, it's not all this oil. I'm not going to be putting in no sugar or no E numbers. But, you know, I just want healthy food. If I want jerk chicken, I will have it. But I'm not going to be having, like, you know, the jerk chicken filled up with all the oil, add some sugar. You know, you just don't need to do all of that. I think you can have the taste without giving yourself that heart attack or that high blood pressure or the cancer. You know, we just need to look at the ingredients that we're adding and really realise that our food is so tasty anyway. Cook it, prepare it yourself, knowing that it's not you just adding all these E numbers to your food, and it's not, you know, you just distorting yourself. Because, you know, it's like I said to people, I'm eating to live and not to die. Just for a change, I've actually changed, and I'm starting to eat to live.
As well, it's what you say to yourself that is so important. So what's live foods? How much does live foods, you know, take on your plate? How much?
I have majority greens, so it's a lot of vegetables, a little bit of meat or fish.
But that's another thing as well, isn't it? And we used to be sort of very little live foods and more of the carbs.
Remember when we were
meat?
growing up? It was like we had the. Like I used to have like a half a plate of rice, and then I'd have my meat or my fish, some hard food.
Tiny salad in the centre for everybody.
You probably weren't even as bad as me. I had all the hard food. I'd be like dasheen, cocoa, yam, everything. Just like I'd be like, Mum, yes, put it on. And it's true because I did love my food, you know. And now I could put the amount of rice, meat, or fish on a saucer. Because I'm not overindulging like that. But if you see the size of my salad, I was actually telling Kayla and my husband that when I went to work, it was so funny. I bought 3 salads. So you can imagine, I'm sitting down at lunchtime and I bought 3 boxes of salad.
Wow.
So I went to the canteen, 3 boxes, so they're piled up. And the woman next to me, she looked like, my God, you are greedy. But I know I don't get full on salad. So you can look all you want. And she's looking and looking. And then the next day she comes in with the biggest plastic bowl I've ever seen. And she's gone to Tesco's and she's bought like the bag of, they got the pre-washed spinach, lettuce, and some mixed salad, and she's flung it in. And then she's bought the hot chicken that they do and she's flung it into this massive bowl. I just looked at her and she goes, oh, you've motivated me. I might as well get involved. I couldn't believe it. I was like, if you see my salads, because they prepare these salads for you, like you told them I want carrot and whatever, and it's like probably the container is like a little book size, and it's kind of thin, but her bowl was like, it was like, when you get the bacon when you're baking a cake, it was massive. So I looked at her and she actually ate the lot with the hot chicken that she added in there. So I just thought, wow. And then she looked at me and she goes, you've motivated me, I can learn from you. And I was like, okay. Yesterday she was looking at me like I'm the greediest woman around.
Now she's realising,
and then today she's like gone in with her vegetables. So
foods. If we want to live, we have to eat them.
I realised
to get the children on as well.
You don't get bloated.
No.
That's what I realised. When you eat the more vegetables, you don't get bloated. Whereas before, when I used to eat, you feel like, whoa, and you just sit down and be like, I need to sleep, man. You'd lean back and be like, no, just let me find a space, undo my button, and just sleep. Because you've you've just eaten so much.
The digestive system is like,
can't even break it down.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if the food took like the whole week to pass through the system, because the portion sizes, just a lot.
So big, just slash your portion sizes.
I think we have to be, moderation, everything in moderation, including moderation. don't go too far. Yeah, we don't want to be extreme in anything, because that's not sustainable. That's why I say I couldn't, if the Mutu system was a diet, it would not have worked for me, because I can't deal with, you can't have this, you can't have that. If I go home and I'm like, oh yeah, I want a piece of chicken, I'll have it. I eat when I'm hungry. Whereas before, it's like I'm thinking, cakes are naughty. So I would go, this is how bad I was when I was really overweight. I would go with my sister.
Oh my God, this was
the bagel shop. We would go to the bagel shop. They had this lemon cake. We would get 2 slices each?
I think so. Yeah.
And then, when she drove off, I would go back in and get another 2.
And sometimes I would do
and then she would do the same. And none of us knew that we were that greedy to go and do that. But
this is where we were, people.
I know, I was in such a bad place. But believe me, if I wanted a slice of that cake, I would have a slice, but I'm not going to eat 4 and every day. I mean, I was going there every day. Yeah. I was like, yes, let me quickly drive down to the bagel shop for the lemon cake. And it's like, I'm thinking, is it the same one at the counter serving? And I'm thinking, like, if they say anything, I'll be like, oh yes, I had to get in that. Because the person's looking.
To somebody else as well. It's not just for me.
They're looking at you like, how can you be eating 4 slices of cake? But I was in a really bad place. And, I was even saying to you yesterday, sis, that I remember watching The Biggest Loser, eating rum and raisin ice cream. Who does that? Who watches The Biggest Loser?
And she was eating
rum and raisin ice cream at the same time. And I was there, bawling, saying, my God, I just can't lose the weight. Meanwhile, rum and raisin ice cream in my hand, I'm sitting there watching these people exercise and watching them saying, I lost 5 pounds this week. And I'm like, I just can't lose it.
You see, I think what it is, we're not thinking, it's a learned behaviour. It's a learned behaviour to eat these kind of foods. So.
You know why as well? Because some people, even like within my experience, like, look at how when mum had us, she had 6 children, and then mum was back to being slim. And I'm thinking, I've had
that snack, that body that
I was
snacks.
Like, you don't see mum at no gym. So I was just like, what's wrong with me? At the time I only had 1 child. I'm thinking, why have I not just...
You see, back in those days, the food was pure organic. Now it's all synthetic, isn't it?
I just couldn't understand why that card was for me. Why was that my portion to be this overweight person? So instead of me doing something about it, like my husband would always say, just go into the gym. Do you want me to help you? And I'd be like, that's embarrassing. I've got to go into the gym, in some nice Adidas. So I've got to buy some big size Adidas to go into the gym for everyone to be looking like, what? How did you get that big? And you know why I had that feeling? Because I would see people who were overweight and I'd be like, how did you let yourself get that bad? And then it was me. So that's why I say everything is back to gratitude. Love yourself, so that even if somebody else out there is putting you down, you're like, I love me. You know, I can change that. Whatever somebody says about you, you know, oh, you're fat, I can change that.
So self-esteem is very, very important.
Yeah, because I had none, you know, and having MS made it just worse. So not only was I disabled, I was fat. You know, it's just like, I didn't want to see anybody. I don't think I saw anybody apart from my husband, my children, and the neurologist, and the MS nurse. You know, self-esteem, you can't buy it. Let's put it that way.
No.
You can't buy it. And, you know, when you feel good within yourself, when you have health, you can't buy it. You know, you can't buy health. Health is priceless. You know, when I think of literally eating vegetables, a bit of protein, and my life is restored, doing a bit of exercise, even if I'd paid somebody to give me whatever, liposuction, and then you see the weight come back again because I'm still my mind has not changed. You know, so, you know, I just,
because
I can't even explain
that's what
it.
degenerative illnesses are. They're lifestyle related, and that's what we don't realise. A lot of the things that people are saying, and the doctors will say, oh, there's nothing, you know, it just happened. But it didn't just happen, it happened because of our lifestyle, but we are ignorant of that. And it's only when you get to a situation like with you that you had to just do something.
I was forced to change. I mean, if I didn't change, I can't even imagine, like the MS neurologist and the nurse said, you know, the wheelchair they had, like, you know, they was asking me what kind, and as for like the walking sticks.
So they actually brought you forward to ask you.
Yeah, because, you know, you need to say what you want, like, you know, because when they were offering me the walking stick, I just looked at it and I thought, how at my age can I be with a walking stick? You know, it's like, if I'd broken my foot and I had the crutches, that I could deal with, but to know that this was going to be my life, I just couldn't accept it. You know, and I just thought, imagine everyone's going to see me there with this walking stick. I just thought, no, this, you know, I couldn't, that bit pushed me to the edge. It just like, the catheter bag for me, it was like, the pain was bad. But knowing that it was going to go that step further, to have catheter bag, wheelchair or walking stick, it was, you know,
so
it was too much.
Okay, turn everything around. 2013, you got this magazine showing an interest in your story. How did that come about? Can you share with us what happened?
Wendy Powell from the Mutu system again. She actually was really happy with my results, and like I'd thanked her. Like I sent an email saying, you know, thank you so much for this system, you know, because it's changed my life. I couldn't believe that I could do exercises with so little mobility at the time. So she had the company, what was it called, Pick Me Up magazine. They contacted me through the Mutu system. They wanted to know, like, how was I able to do Mutu with MS, and did this Mutu system help me, like, to recover? And I sat down and I said, you know what, it really did, because I didn't need the catheter bag because I did all the pelvic floor exercises, and my core became really strong. So, like, it teaches you, like, even how to walk. She teaches you how to walk, so your posture. So the backache that I was having was really easing up. And then just for good measure, and I guess like what I really needed as well, I lost 3 stones on it. The tummy was just getting flatter. So I was amazed by the results. And so as a thank you, really, to her, I said I would be so honoured to talk about what Mutu, what you've designed, has done for me. You know, I'm still very grateful to her. I can't thank her enough, because I just feel like God just put me in the right channels at that time. Like, all my path was just guided to everything that I needed to do. What, you know, from the Mutu system to the urban Krav Maga, everything just fell into place. I can't even explain, but everything was,
just
all the
worked.
doors were just opening.
It just flowed,
and it just
yeah.
seemed like, you know, even like Ignatius was shocked, my husband was shocked, you know, I'm doing Krav Maga, I've just, you know, 4 months prior, I was diagnosed with MS, really ill, disabled. Next minute, she's fighting with men and she's doing exercise now, and my status is on Facebook. I'd be like, yeah, I'm going spin class, yeah, I'm going body pump, and you know, and it's just like, what?
Totally
You know, my
turnaround,
life
yeah.
just, it's totally different now. So it's, you know, the journey, I actually have to say the journey's been great. It's been great.
We can see that.
I appreciate it because like my life now, I feel grateful. I feel so grateful. I'm grateful to God. I'm grateful to my family. I'm grateful to my husband, who I kept pushing this man away, people, because I was humiliated, embarrassed. When I couldn't do anything for myself, my husband just covered down. He just like locked everything down, even though I was not like saying thank you, but this man just covered down. He just had my back.
He was just there for you.
He had my back,
Yeah.
you know, and like, I guess as well, that made the marriage more strong. But in my mind, I was thinking like, you know, what's he thinking? You know, the woman that you love, the woman that, you know, you're with, we've known each other for so long, and then she's disabled. Like, you know, how do you feel? I can't even imagine. I can't imagine how he felt at the time.
At that time,
But I
yeah.
was torn. And I just, every time he would come to help, I'd feel like, no, I can't have him see me this way. You know, like, how's he going to see me now just as this disabled person? Who is he going to be to me now? Just my carer? You know, it was, but you know, I'm just grateful. I'm grateful for my husband, grateful to my children. My daughter was like my right hand.
What's it like with the children now?
It's awesome. You know, I'm actually involved. When I was really overweight, we'd be like, my husband would be saying like, let's take Kayla out to the park to go feed the ducks or whatever. I'd be like, no way. Because I was a hermit for like 10 years. So that's why I was just getting bigger and bigger, because I would just shy away. I would just be like, work, home. And we'd have a family function. No, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
No, I'm not coming.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't turn up. You know, so now I don't have any problems. If mum says come around, I'm like, yeah, sure, I'm there.
First one there.
Yeah. You know, I don't have that self-esteem issue. I don't have the illness issue. I'm just so grateful for everyone who's in my life, you know, like just, and people who I come in contact with. One thing I'll always say is that I always try to seek out the good in people.
Good. Yeah.
Even, you know, like some people are very assertive and people can take it like the wrong way. I just see it that person's assertive, and I say to myself, that's good. You know, like I find
It's a good quality.
I find something
Yeah.
good in them, because I've realised that I've been to a very bad place, and I'm just grateful. I don't want to be seen to be just judging people or looking at someone and saying, because I've been to hell. I've been down there at the worst position of my life. So, you know, I'm just so grateful for life. So grateful. I can't even, you know, I can't even think of anything negative or whatever. Whatever I see that is the so-called negative, I just find something positive in that to turn it around. And, you know, that's literally it for me.
Wow. So we are coming to the end of the show, and I'm sure you will agree that that was a powerful story from my sister Jeanette. Okay, yeah, so we're coming to the end, and yes, I've got these prizes to give out. So, right, people, just give us a second. We're going to come back to you. Just going to play a song, and then we'll be right back, and we'll sort out this competition. And now. Hello, people. We're getting out of time. So, the competition. We have got 3 names for the winning tickets. So, we've got number 1. We've got Junjo has won the book. Sean Goody has won 2 tickets to the seminar on the 2nd over at Parkview Academy, and Anne-Marie James has also won 2 tickets. So if you can just send in your details to our email address, and so that you can collect your prizes and we can send them off to you. That's nubiahouseradio@gmail.com. I'll repeat that. It's nubiahouseradio@gmail.com. Okay, we have to go. We're over time, but thank you for listening, and thank you for all your big ups. Thank you to all the silent listeners. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Goodbye.
Sometimes it makes me sick. Sometimes I try to